to Tamara's Closet today. I have a very, very talented young man with me today, and he actually lives not too far from me, so that's exciting. And he's here with me today from Charlotte, North Carolina. He's from Iceland, actually, and he's going to be performing locally here in Greensboro next weekend. So at some point I'll have him talk about that. And he's going to be at Green Street Live. So if you're in the area of Greensboro, North Carolina, make sure you make note of that. And I have posted a link on my page and the event page of where you can buy tickets. Through Ticketfly. So he has the most beautiful tenor voice and has already won numerous awards. And I'm also going to have Jason talk about that today as well. And it's been said that he has almost a trance-like effect to those who listen to him. So without further delay, I want to go ahead and bring out singer and songwriter Jason Jet. Jason, say hello so I know you're still with me.
Hey there.
So, Jason, it's really, really great to have you here today. I was so excited. The way I found you was I got an invite to Citizen Shade is a group that I interviewed Will Howard, the lead singer of Citizen Shade.
Yeah.
Last year on my show, and he's very talented. And I had got invited to this event, and I saw your name on the event that you would be performing as well. So I Googled you, and that's how I learned a little bit about you. And I really loved your voice. I loved your talent, and so I wanted to celebrate you because you are so gifted. So I'm very excited to have you here today.
Oh, geez, thank you so much. I mean that intro is a lot to live up to.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I know you will. I know you will. You're very ambitious, and I like that about you, and you've got a lot of energy. So I want to ask you, though, I want to go back, though, a little bit to your history.
Sure.
Are there other musicians or artists in your family, like your parents? Do you have siblings or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't take all the credit, that's for sure. My father is an amazing musician. He's been producing since he was probably maybe 19, 20 years old. So, as a kid, just watching him produce music, his own songs, and going out and selling his CDs, that kind of laid the foundation for me musically. And my mom, she's an author. So I guess you could say I get the writing from her. And my brother plays, I mean, he's younger than me. He's 6 years younger than me. He plays like 10 instruments. So I guess you could say it runs in the family.
He plays 10 instruments? Really?
I mean, yeah, he does a lot.
Wow. Now, how old are you, Jason? I don't even know. I can ask you that because you're not a woman.
Yeah, you can. It's all right. So I'm actually about to turn 30 next month.
God, you look younger than 30 is very young, but you look younger, and that is very good, actually. I mean, because you're gonna just continue to age really well, and so that's exciting, though, that you have so much history and family history of everyone's in the arts.
Yeah,
and that explains why you're so talented. So when you as far as how old were you? Because I read that you migrated to Charlotte from Iceland. Why Charlotte? What took you to Charlotte?
Well, I didn't really have a choice in that. As far as that goes, my family moved here. My dad was in the Navy and stationed in Iceland, and for reasons why my mom went, I don't know. But obviously, it was supposed to be to have me. So I only lived there for about a year, and my dad bounced around in the Navy in DC and Virginia and Florida, and then we just landed in Charlotte when I was about 6 years old. And I grew up here, and I moved away, after high school to Florida and New York. But we'll get into all that fun stuff, I'm sure, in a little bit. But yeah, I love Charlotte.
You do. I was going to ask you if you like it. Yeah, it's much bigger than, well, you're going to come to Greensboro next weekend, and Greensboro is great.
Yeah.
Charlotte's just much, much more populated. But do
So,
you remember your first exposure to music? Well, I mean, well, now that I know about your father, was it his music? What type of music was he about? What?
like growing up, my dad, he did a number of types of music. He did a lot of jazz. When I was really young, I remember listening to some of his younger records, and they were more I guess you would say pop records, but of the 80s, that 80s sound, that Peter Gabriel type of feel of records. So I grew up listening to that and being exposed to his jazz and gospel and R&B growing up. So my first experience, to answer your question, my first experience to actually playing music was in church, like a lot of musicians I know, artists I know. And I think I can't remember if I was 6 or 8. I know it was somewhere between the ages of 6 and 8. My dad threw me up on the drums. He was the minister of music at the church. And he was like, you need to come play drums. The drummer can't make it. And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. But I wanted to do it. So that kind of threw me up there, and I just held the beat. And that was really my first experience with playing an instrument. Yeah.
Yeah, so drums was your first instrument. Now, did you sing in the choir in church, or just play the drums? Did you sing,
I
or?
want to say I did. Not until later on, but yeah, I did. Uh-huh. I also sang in choir all through high school. So I went to a school of arts for high school, and I sang with the choir, and I was in band in elementary. After I played drums, and I played trombone, surprisingly, for about 2 years. And my mom pulled me out of that because she was like, "Man, Jason, I don't want your lips to get all big and stuff." So they made me give up trombone.
Oh God. Well, do you still like gospel music?
Yeah, I do. I still play it.
Do you play a little bit of it?
Um,
Okay.
I've never been like a traditional gospel player, but
Mhm.
I have all my friends around me. They can play real churchy stuff. I've just never been that churchy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell me what different musical instruments that you do play.
So now I play drums. I dabble on drums. I play guitar. I'm learning that. Piano and singing. Um, I want to say I have an ear for a lot of instruments because I do music production and everything is so digital now. But I have the ear of all kinds of instruments. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and but yeah, those are my main ones, my main chord instruments. I just found my trumpet in my parents' attic the other day, so I might mess with that too.
Yeah. Did you play the piano growing up?
I did. So um, I didn't want to play piano. So I think when I was about 10 years old, my mom was like, "I'm putting you in piano lessons," and I was like, I don't want to do it because that's what my dad's main instrument. I was like, I don't want to do the same thing he's doing, and so lo and behold, I didn't have a choice. She threw me in there, and I think after the first week, I fell in love with the piano because it was just I was just catching on, like it was just easy, and my mom knew I had the gift, and ever since then, since the age of 10, I just been playing piano.
Yeah. Well, what did they think? Were they real supportive when they realized you were really getting a serious interest in music? Were they supportive of you of that? I mean, it sounds like they wanted you to play, but were they supportive of you? Maybe I should say pursuing a career in it at some point.
I want to say that, yeah, definitely say yeah, and it's just been different, phases of or different seasons in life where you can feel that support more than others, and I think growing up back then, it was more of like they saw something in me, and they wanted to kind of see if just let's exploit the idea of him doing music, but it wasn't like this thing of like we see this as a career. You need to have a fallback plan, and just we all know how the music industry is. It's not an easy market at all.
Yeah.
And I think what happened is is over time, once I developed into an artist, I'd say maybe about 6 years ago, and they started to see how serious I began to take it. That's when I really want to say I felt support. But they definitely pushed me when I was younger. My mom, she made me practice 3 hours a day, sometimes on the piano. So they definitely pushed me to be great. But now I get to see, I feel supported now. They're making moves to aid in helping me succeed. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, I'm sure most of our parents, that when they see, I don't know, there's something about the art industry that when you show an interest in that industry, your parents, it's like they think you need a backup plan. I don't know what it is, but I guess they know, they feel it's competitive, and so, you know, I don't know, but our parents, you know, they want what's best, you know, and I guess they'll always worry about you. So.
You know, the thing about the music industry and the arts industry in general, there's really no set blueprint for success when it comes to that. And that's the scariest thing with stepping into this field. It's, you know, you have to really be willing to be okay with you don't know what's going to happen next to because it can literally be one relationship that you have with one person can change the entire path for you as an artist. Whereas if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, you know what you got to do. You got to go to college.
Yeah, that's true.
It's more frightening, for sure.
Yeah. Well, what would you say when you have an idea or decide you want to write a song? What do you use as your go-to instrument?
That's a good question. So my go-to instrument is it's normally the piano. I'll normally sit down and, like I said, I have an ear for things. So maybe I might pull up a different type of sounds. Maybe I might pull up a synthesizer if that's what I'm hearing in my head and start there. Or if I hear drums, then I'll start with the drums. So it really just depends on what idea I'm feeling or the mood I'm feeling.
Yeah. Well, when you, do you remember, because it sounded like you were really young when your dad wanted you to play the drums in the church. When do you remember exactly when you realized you had a gifted singing voice?
Man, that's a good one too. I think that,
or maybe even was it even? But maybe your parents noticed it. Who noticed it? Who?
I don't think it's funny. I think my mom kind of always knew, but you know, you could have a voice and, you know, have different type of thoughts about it. I never really honestly like appreciated my voice growing up. Like even I would say up until about the age of 22, I never really liked my singing voice. So
Really?
No, I hated it. Like I would record songs. I think I wrote, to put it in perspective, I produced since the age of 10. I made beats since the age of 10. So by the time from 10 to 21, I think I had over 300 songs in my library, just instrumentals. Out of those instrumentals, I might have written 3 songs with lyrics. So that's how much I unappreciated my voice enough to be able to kind of like write songs. And I would take and record, and I just didn't like it. And I think what happened was that I joined a band called Bop Gun in Florida. And
called what?
It's a band I was in called Bop Gun. And the lead singer, his name's Peter Baldwin. And watching him perform and just watching like his freedom in his voice, and the things that he would do, it really opened up things for me. It opened up a perspective for me, because all I had been exposed to before was really church singers and all that kind of stuff. So I was very limited in my perspective of singing. And that's when I started playing around with singing and like really trying to find a vocal sound, I guess you could say. And that's when it started to click, when I was about 22. I started loving my voice.
And that was in Florida?
Yeah.
Now, did your parents, is that about the time they really recognized your voice, or did they, when they realized you had a good singing voice, did they want to kind of push you to do more? Or
Yeah, I think when they saw how serious I had gotten, my first album, Love Boulevard, I did in Florida. Um, I think after maybe the third or fourth song on that album I had finished, I think they were starting to see like I think they were starting to see I was on to something, and you know, and then I finished that whole album. My dad helped me, you know, release it and get 1,000 copies of it, and just start selling it at shows. And yeah, they saw it then. They was like, "Wow, you're writing good records." My dad was, for my dad to actually prove, was a lot, because he doesn't like everything he hears. So
yeah,
I know I was on something.
does he get involved much now? Or
Yeah, my whole family is very, very involved. They're very supportive. I honestly don't. I have to give them a lot of credit. Like I have a great situation. So to not have a record label and to be able to have the freedom and the luxury to be able to move the way I need to, um, they believe.
yeah, but that's amazing though that you had 300 songs that before you had lyrics. I mean that you had. So you actually did that in a studio, but it was you had all those songs recorded before you actually added any lyrics to it.
Yeah, I have a lot of those songs that they're just untouched. Just got them in a
Wow.
vault.
You might have to pull them out and put some lyrics to them.
Go back and touch them up. But it's always funny going to listen to some of the old stuff because it's like, man, how did I like? It sounds like garbage now, but I mean, I'm sure there's certain elements I could take and just amplify.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we're always improving and going better, getting better and growing. And
Oh yeah.
yes, I was reading a book by a great photographer. He does a lot of he's a very young guy. He's probably about your age, and he's done a lot of celebrities too now, and he really is excelled in his career. But it's funny, in his book that I was reading, he was talking about how when he goes back and looks at some of his earlier things, photographs that he thought were so great, that he doesn't, he's like, well, that's not so great now. But it's because it's like you say, you develop and you grow, and it doesn't mean that it wasn't good. I think we're our own worst critics. So you probably have some stuff in there you could use, Jason.
I'm pretty sure.
So how long have you been performing now? As far as singing and performing at different venues.
As a solo artist, as Jason Jet / Jason JetPlane, I would say 2009. Yeah.
Okay. For a while.
Yeah.
So what was you when you had that first experience of performing live and you were going to sing in solo? What was that like? How did you prepare for that? Were you really, really nervous, or?
Oh gosh, I think I was. I was so concerned about forgetting lyrics to my own song. It was overwhelming, to say the least. I think that what happens when you're just starting out as a performer, and I coach a lot of people on this, is you tend to overcompensate. You think you have to perform instead of just being. And I think that's two different experiences. And so, like, when I got old videos that I watch sometimes, and it's like I want to pull my hair out of my head when I watch them, because it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I used to do it, but I would be all over the stage and just like a little jumping bean. I'm like moving for no reason and singing unnecessary notes and all of the above, and it's just like painful to watch for me. But everybody has to go through that phase of you're trying to figure it out. You want to be on that stage, and then I didn't have anybody there kind of being like, Jason, do this. I kind of learned on my own.
Yeah.
It's intense though.
Well, tell me about, because I want to understand the difference between, because I see Jason Jet, but then I see things where you use Jason JetPlane. What's the difference? And how did you come up with that name?
Oh, our connection kind of got disturbed there. I didn't hear the last part.
Okay, like how did you come? What's Jason Jet versus Jason JetPlane? And because your name is Jason Jones, though, right?
Yeah. So the whole history behind all that. So the band I was in Florida, I was called Bopgun, and the lead singer Peter gave me the name Jason JetPlane. And the reason why is because during our shows, I use a couple keyboards sometimes, and it was set up like a control panel. I did a lot of eerie sounds, a lot of like synthesizer, like 80-ish type sounds. And they were like, we're gonna call you Jason JetPlane. And so I was like, okay, cool. And so there was a long dilemma for, after I left the band and moved back home to Charlotte, there was a long, I don't know, just a long internal battle. I was like, do I want to be Jason Jones or do I want to be Jason JetPlane? And I was like, you know what the heck? Let's just be JetPlane. Let's do it. And I took that name, and one of my friends, Terry, he always would just call me Jet. And he's like, yo, what's up, Jet? And I'd be like, I'm chilling. I like that name. And I think Jet sounds cooler than JetPlane. So this last year, a year and a half ago, I decided to just drop off the plane, just crash the plane. Yeah, it just crashed it. Jason Jet.
Well, I like Jason Jet. I think that was a smart move. I think that has a really catchy, it's got a nice ring to it, I think. And I think it's good to market. I think that's great. I mean, I think that was a good choice, actually.
I appreciate it.
I wanted to ask you, how did you develop or discover your musical style, and then how would you describe it? Because it sounds like you developed it over time.
You're absolutely right. My sound is it can change at any moment. So I've been blessed to be able to have to be able to see, I can see music and I can understand what's going on. So I can listen to pretty much any kind of record and kind of duplicate that feel. Like I'm just a feeling person. And I would say growing up, I listened to all kinds of music. My dad didn't let me listen to what most people in my demographic listened to growing up. So like a lot of my friends grew up on a lot of hip hop, a lot of stuff that was on the radio. I was very sheltered in the sense of like even movies. I didn't grow up watching, I couldn't even watch Boys in the Hood or a lot of the like urban films that like classic Black people my age are supposed to watch. Like I didn't see any of that. And so musically and visually, I was exposed to like the Police, Peter Gabriel, Sting, Elton John, like just a whole bunch of different like other types of music that was really worldly in a different sense.
Right.
And I loved Pharrell's music and Music Soul Child. So I was just able to take a blend of different styles that I loved growing up and just try to make something that I like that pleases my ear. I call my genre electro soul.
Electro soul.
Okay. Because everything that I do is pretty much digital and has that electronic feel, but it's still funky and it's not like it's soulful. And you can hear the influence of maybe gospel, you can hear the influence of R&B and pop or hip hop, but it's not like set in one box. And so it's more soulful than some genres tend to be, and it just sounds new. Like I like my music to just sound like ahead of what's on the radio and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, something new, like you're developing something new and different. I think that's smart, actually, because you have to in this industry, you do have to stay on top of it, and you do have to be willing to try new things and you have to be firm with what you believe in and what is best for you too, Jason, I believe, because you know, you've got to do what comes natural, I think, and whatever feels natural, because that's when you're going to perform your best. So I think you're smart to do, just to follow your heart as far as you're developing your style.
Thank you.
And
Yeah, I definitely think, you know, what helped with me growing up is you know, I literally came home from school every day and made a song. And for me, like growing up, I didn't really have emotionally, I didn't really know how to express my feelings like verbally. So if I was upset with someone, or if I didn't, you know, feel good, or if I wasn't happy or whatever, or if I was super happy, the only way I knew how to really express myself, like I found a way to do it through music. And sometimes even now to this day, like I'll make a song or make some music, and it's just so far, like it's so far ahead of where I am as a person. Like I have
uh-huh.
songs I wrote like 6 years ago, and like I performed them back then, and they touch people in a certain kind of way. But now I perform them, and it's like it's almost like I wrote those songs back then for now, and they're appreciated in a deeper way. So it's just crazy how the music is more evolved than I am.
Yeah, well, but that's great. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
great.
good problem.
Yes, that's a good problem. Well, I want you've won numerous awards. So I want to give you a chance to talk about, because I know you won the New York Urban Music Award and the Carolina Music Award. How did this came about? Tell a little bit about that and when this was and your
Yeah.
experience.
So I think it was about 2010. The first award was the Carolina Music Award, and heard about it through a friend of mine. She was actually competing in it as well, and um, I was like, man, I need to try to submit and see if I can get enough nominations. And it was around the time I first released Love Boulevard, and people, you know, just went out and voted, and they just loved the record, and you know, I didn't think it was going to win over some of the other category people in the categories, and it wasn't like R&B music, but they pinned it as R&B, and for some reason it won, and you know, it was really cool to really be able to get noticed for that,
Well,
especially.
how did people vote for that? Like how I don't know about.
So I don't know if they still do it, but I know the way they did it then is people would go online and just cast a vote. Like
You
they'll go
can
on the
do it
website.
on. Okay, yeah.
They'll just cast a vote, and yeah, and people. It's like, I guess maybe it was kind of like a People's Choice Award type of situation. And
Yeah.
the second award was in New York. Nicki Minaj actually had won that same award, I think 2 or 3 years before.
Wow.
So it had some credibility back then, and I don't know how I won that honestly. Like, but I went up there and I had to perform for that one. I did 3 songs, and they basically had judges that were in the industry, record label execs, and they judged. And I think the thing that really helped me, always really helped me stand out with competitions and stuff like that, was the fact that my sound was my sound. Like nobody else had heard anything or saw anything like me before, and that I think that's what allowed me to win that particular event.
Right. Now, where did you perform? Like, where were the judges? Where did you have to perform?
So there was this venue, I can't even remember. I want to say it was, no, that's not it. I don't even remember the name of the venue in New York. I think it was
But
in
it
like
was,
a. It was nice though. They had a stage, and the judges were like off to the side, and I had a management team at that time. They were handling everything. They set it up, and you know, actually, you know, I don't know if you heard of the Black violinist, but it's 2 guys. They were
uh-huh.
founded. You heard of them?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they actually performed there. I think they featured. I don't think they competed, but they
Okay.
came out and performed. So it was a really fun night.
Wow. And you won that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
Nicki Minaj had won it about 3 years prior to that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's really awesome. That's really awesome. So when you performed for that, were you performing music, your own music that you had written?
Yeah, I did 3 original records. I did JetPlanes. I might have did 2 records. Now I think my JetPlanes and Love Boulevard. I think I did those 2 songs. Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Now, is most of them, when you're going to different venues now, like you'll be here next weekend, will you be performing a lot of covers or more so music that you've written yourself? More music, or is it a blend of both?
It'll be a little blend. You'll hear infusions of covers in what I do, but it's not. I hate covers. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm not a fan of doing covers. But when I do them, I try to do them the way to where it's kind of like my sound, my style of doing a cover.
Yeah.
So we'll probably do like maybe 2 covers, and everything else will be original records. I've been blessed to have like a show and I have musicians that I play with that. I don't know what it is. It's like we can do a show with all my records, and the crowd, they will rock as if they know the records. And I've never seen that before with too many artists that, they can do a show and people never heard the songs and just rock with you. But I think it's because they hear elements of stuff that they already know in my songs.
Yeah, right. Well, now, have you performed at Green Street Live before? Is this going to be your first time?
We're excited. First time.
Oh, your first time. Okay. Well, I got a ticket, so I'm hoping everything will go well and that I can be there. And I'm going to bring my camera. So I hope my schedule could change, but right now I did buy a ticket so that should I be able to go, I would be able to do that. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So, but well, I want to ask you, because this is always a question I like asking musicians, especially songwriters, of course, because everybody does it different. When you have an idea, when an idea comes to you for a song, is it typically the melody, the tune that comes to you first, or is it the lyrics? And then later you figure out the melody? What usually comes first for you?
Typically for me, a melody will come first. I think, but most of the times, neither one of those methods work for me. I'm the type of person where I like to I just feel like I want to make something. So I'll just sit down and just start messing around with different sounds or ideas, or maybe might throw some drums together and just start building. So for me, that's how I create, because it's just, I don't know, it just flows more organically for me. Yeah. Sometimes I'll have lyrics, but very rarely do I start a song with lyrics. Most times it ends up being horrible for me. It turns out to be a disaster. I think I've got like maybe 2 or 3 successful like songs. But see, I'm the type of person where I don't make records every day. I think I stopped doing that at the age of like 19, 20. Like just making beats every day. I can't do it anymore. It's kind of like I gotta be in a certain space to create. So I might make for myself maybe like 10 to 15 songs a year. Honestly, 10 to 15 songs a year. But the thing about every one of those songs, they're gonna be like official, like dope songs,
Yeah. Well, where would you say, like, when you do get the lyrics, is it usually or often from an experience you're going through in life, or not necessarily? Or
yeah, most times. I mean, if I'm writing, it's weird, because when I'm writing for myself, most times it's that way. When I'm writing for other artists, for some reason it's just easier. Yeah, it's just easier. So like I can they can just give me a concept and I can just kind of, write to what they need. I have a lot of clients I work with now that, they'll just come in every week and, I'll write a whole song out in like, less than 15, 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, but when it's time to do it for myself, it's just like, it takes a little longer because I'm just so analytical about it. Very picky about, everything that I say,
Right. And where do you pull from for inspiration? Do you have certain artists that you admire and follow that and it doesn't, I don't mean you're using what they do, but it's, you know, like I can look at for an example, I'll give you, I can look at a photograph in a magazine or see something on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it'll give me an idea for a photograph, but it won't be anything like what I just saw. But something about that inspired me to have my own creation, and it won't even be, because I don't like to copy other photographs. I know a lot of people like to do that or try to do that.
Yeah.
I might try to copy a certain lighting just to learn how to do a lighting technique, but as far as copying stuff, I usually, it's more, I just get an idea from looking at something. Does that happen to you, or how do you pull, where do you feel like most of your inspiration comes from?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the field, because right, there are different, types of music, and when I'm creating a song, I like to, if I wanted to have a certain feel of maybe like a Pharrell record, I might listen to a particular song that he's done that kind of fits that vein. So like even the single like Up All Night, that song in particular has NERD Pharrell type vibe to it. So I probably listen to a couple of his joints off their Seeing Sounds album, that just to kind of like feel like, just get the feel. And I wanted to make sure that mine kind of matched that. And there was kind of like, I listened to like some James Brown stuff, because there was a part in the song was like, yeah, now baby, do you feel it? So I listened to that and listened to a little bit of Ray Charles, just to be like, okay, how did they pull this off? And then I was like, okay, let me see how I can pull it off in my own way, And yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of what I do. I'll just listen to see what's similar vibe, and just create something with that feel.
Right. So you have people that inspire you. Do you have a mentor, like someone you look up to or go to for advice, or is that your father, or is it someone else?
Yeah, it just depends on what it's dealing with. When it comes, musically speaking, I don't really have too much of a mentor. If I have general questions about something, then, I'll go do my homework on it. But I think honestly, so far, or as of the last year, my biggest mentor has been my experience in the industry. I've been signed to Interscope back in like 2012, and having the team I was managed under, seeing how they maneuvered in business, and learning from their moves, and learning from what I've been exposed to just in the industry, taking meetings at labels, and just looking at how big artists, honestly too, like how they maneuver. And I think experience has really taught me a whole lot. But now I'm at that point now where it's like I'm definitely hitting that space where, I'm gonna have to have a manager soon. I'm gonna have to have different things in place, people in place, because I can't do everything. But
Yeah.
the thing about it is that my biggest message to every artist in the world is like, you're not just an artist. If you make music, or you paint, or you're a photographer, you have to begin to look at yourself as a CEO, and your art is your product. And once I started to understand that concept, that's when the shift started happening. And so that, I began to kind of find mentorship in not really the music necessarily, but more in the business, and more in like being strategic, and how, my decisions musically affect people and business wise.
Well, that's smart. That's smart that you think that way, and that you do that. That you're working toward that. What would you say is your most proud moment so far on your journey?
God, man, this year has been filled with proud moments. Um, I want to say like this whole year, I would say from like October of 2015 till up until even now, the ability to see a vision and to have an idea And for every single thing that I've had planned to actually manifest in abundance has been amazing. We just had the skate concert. You know, I had the vision of doing a skate concert like 2 years ago in my apartment in New York. And we just did that 2 weeks ago, and over 350 people RSVP'd. It was a success. The concert was flawless. I mean, it was just an amazing event. So as of right now, that's a huge victory for us, because as an indie artist, to get 300 plus people to be a part of something you got going on is unheard of.
Yeah, that was your skate party. I saw the video where you were talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was recently, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. That was on June 5th.
Yeah, June 5th. That's right. So that is well, I think that is something to be proud of, putting together something like that. And I could just tell by the video, and I think I posted that video actually in the event page on Facebook, because you know, that's a huge accomplishment to put together something like that, Jason. So I think that is something you should be very proud of, you know, so that's really cool. You sort of answered my next question just a few minutes ago, because I was asking to ask you what you think is the most important thing for a singer to focus on to keep moving forward. Do you have anything to add to that? I mean, maybe that wasn't the most important thing. You were talking about learning to be a CEO, but what do you think is the most important thing for a singer to focus on? Because there's a lot of distractions out there, and I'm trying to think of a better way to ask this question.
Yeah.
And it's real easily to get distracted by people the naysayers, the haters, the people who try to discourage you. What do you think is the most important thing for someone who's working on a dream to focus on, to stay?
There's a number of things, but I would say there's a few key ingredients. Vision is very, 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 very important with this music stuff. You got to have vision. You got to know where you want to end up in order to make moves. A lot of artists don't do that. They just see fame and success, and that's very vague. You know,
Yeah.
That's not really enough. Then the next thing you need is perspective. You know, how do you view yourself and the decisions that you're making, and the decisions that people are making regarding you, and how do people really genuinely feel about your music? And of course, your music is important. So you got to have great records. You got to if you focus on your vision, and then you focus on your perspective, and really focus on how you want to impact the world with your music, then that allows you the ability to create a standard. And having that standard is what allows, it makes or breaks everything, because that influences whether or not you're going to have quality music or crappy music. Are you going to get it mixed and mastered, or are you just going to go record it in your basement and just let people around the world hear that? Or you're going to get it packaged in a CD case, or you're going to get burned on the CD? Having that standard is what every artist, I believe, needs to have. And then that allows for you to, really hone in and focus on the business stuff. You have a product at that point. So if you don't have the product, then you can't really be a CEO of a business without a product. Like, you gotta have something. So your vision and perspective in your music is key.
Well, you're very smart, Jason. I talk about a lot of these things in my inspirational writings, and because I was having a conversation not long ago with someone, and I asked them, and what they want, and they just kept saying they wanted to be a millionaire and they wanted to be famous. And I knew this person, and I wrote about this actually, and I knew this person was going to struggle to get to that destination, because without clarity and without a vision and without knowing why you want to be a millionaire, why you want to be famous,
Right.
it's like you said, that's just too vague. That's what most people say. They say, I want to be debt free. Well, that's too vague.
That's right.
You have to have a clear vision, know why you want it, what you're going to do when you get there, and how are you going to get there. Well, you don't always have to know the how, because once you have the intent and put the action in, the how just sort of takes care of itself. Yeah, so yeah, you're very smart that you've already realized that. You do have to have a vision, and you had that with your last project, and you were successful with it, so that's good. So tell me about this Great Escape project, if you can. Is it? You said it was centered around self-realization, or?
Yeah, so it's this project right here is it's a collection of music. It's a Great Escape EP. So I actually have it originally was going to be 12 songs, and some people have it as a 12-song project, but I decided to change it to a 5-song EP, right? And the reason being is because I have a lot of records, and I wanted to give most of my records a chance to really have impact and breathe. So I wanted to do campaigns with certain songs. And this particular song, I'm sorry, the particular project is, you know, I wrote these songs, I'd say about a year and a half ago. And I was just starting to notice things and patterns in life, in my relationships, even just regular, just living. And I was just uncovering truths about myself. So the songs really reflect like what I was uncovering about, you know, myself as a man in my journey. Like the first song is called Over on there. And it's about uncovering my confidence and believing in myself, physically and mentally, and as a man. And, you know, I think that's something that like a lot of men don't really go into stuff like that in their records and really try to, you know, hone in and really speak, I guess speak in that type of way, you know.
From the heart.
Yeah, I guess you can say that, and absolutely. So it's a fun record. You know, I got Up All Night is on there. It's a dance type record, funky song. Selfish, you know, I wrote that around the time of going through some relationship stuff, and it's like, why you always got to be so selfish, you know? But I'm selfish too. We're all in a way kind of selfish.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a nice little situation. I love that album, and yeah, it's gonna do well. We're gonna actually release it on my birthday, July 15th. Officially release it digitally. I sell it in my show, so I will have it on the 24th, so you can grab it.
Oh yeah, great. Okay, so it's already available. That's good to know. Well, the selfish thing, so you don't feel bad, not trying to, because you have to be, when you make a decision to go after a dream, you have to. It does involve a certain amount of, if you want to call it selfishness, whatever, because you have to protect your dream. And there'll be a lot of people that try to pull you away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's okay to be, you have to be a little bit selfish of your time, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of focus. But I think the thing about it is, once you tell the people that you love or whatever that this is what you're wanting to do and this is what it's going to involve, you know, then we're all selfish in that way. I mean, you got to be, you know, or you want to accomplish anything, you know.
You just got to find that balance. And that, you know, my stepbrother sat me down the other day and he's like, yo, man, you know, you just moving too fast. You're doing stuff and you're forgetting about, you know, things that you need to focus on with the family too, and all this. I'm like, you know, I appreciate you telling me, because, you know, the way I move, it's like since I quit my day job to do music, it's like there's no time to do anything, because you know, you just always feel like there's something to do, and I'll forget. Like I'll just go into, you know, music land and just live there, just set up camp, just live, I'm just gone, you know, and won't think about nobody else, or just, you know, just be in my zone. So, you know, sometimes I have to be reminded, like, yo, slow down. You know? I'll be jealous.
That's okay. It's okay. Do you have a dream place that you'd like to perform? You may not, but you know.
I wanna. Honestly, no, I don't really have a dream place. I really, my biggest thing is I really want to tour the world. I just want to have the luxury to be able to go perform wherever I want to go. That's what I want.
That's your dream. Well, that's a good dream, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tell me then, you may have already answered this question, then what do you enjoy more, live performances or why?
Oh, say that one more time. It was going out.
So what do you enjoy more, doing live performances, or do you more enjoy the process of working in the studio and recording? And then why? Why?
Yeah. It's interesting. I enjoy them both, and I'd say probably equally enjoy them both.
That's good.
Yeah, it's just two different mindsets, though. So I think when you're creating, it's more like, or in the studio rather, creating, it's more about releasing, like kind of just getting ideas out and just creating and making something. Whereas and that energy just feels like refreshing. It just feels relieving. And I think when it's time to perform, it's just kind of like giving. It's also releasing, but it's a sharing. And so it just feels more communal for me. And now I've adopted that mindset, and it's just fun. Like I can connect with the audience and just have fun with the band. I really enjoy that experience more now.
Yeah.
They're both. It's pretty. They're tied right now because I'll go do a show. We've done a lot of free shows, and we're getting away from that now because we have to build the brand more, and it's a fun show to watch. So people got to pay.
Well, I'm really hoping to be there next weekend, and should I get to be there, I guess I'll find this answer out for myself. But I have to ask it anyway. When you perform, do you like to dance? Are you a dancer?
Apparently, I'm a dancer. I never call myself a dancer, but apparently I dance. Now I don't. I got a little two-step situation going on, and I'll be doing this little hop step, and now I have a choreographer, so she's been schooling me. So I haven't busted those moves out yet in the show. We just started, but I might have to sprinkle something on y'all next week.
I was gonna say you might want to do it then.
A little something. I got to see how much space I have on the stage. I don't want to, knock anybody over, knock anybody's drums over or something. That'll be an epic fail.
We might need a new Michael Jackson. Everybody misses his dancing. I know I do. So.
So I can do the moonwalk.
Oh God. Well, what do you have any advice that you would give to someone who wants to be a singer? Yes.
Man, just have fun. I think the biggest thing is to have fun singing and find. It's not even find your voice. It's just more about just pay attention to your voice and the tone and really just strive to like be great. Like you have to figure out what's your why and what you want to do as a singer. So everybody's path is different. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people that literally sing and their sole purpose is to be like, man, I just want to be a local bar singer and that's good enough for me. I want to sing in coffee shops. And there's some people that want to sing globally. So you have to figure out what it is you want to do and just have fun at it.
Yeah, well, I think that's the best thing. You have to find your passion, and I think when you find your passion and turn it into a career, you will have fun at it. So that's good. Now, where would you like to see yourself in 5 years? I know that's a tough question, but
well, I like to, for one, I want the brand to be built up. I want to be doing tours. Like I said, anywhere, wherever we choose, I want to be able to go perform and do full concerts. You know, I also want to influence and infiltrate communities and pockets of young artists. Also have a business, creative indie, and so being able to facilitate the arts and communities is going to be key. So I want to have a music facility that can you know, allow people to rehearse and do recording, basically a YMCA for music. And
Yeah, that's a great idea.
so that's something I'm building. And 5 years, I mean, I'm not. I'm before it was kind of like I need to have a Grammy in 3 years, but you know, my thing is you know, that's a cool thing to reach for. But we're just gonna keep reaching and make great records and
Yeah.
just plugging away. Like we're I think we're on the right path.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like you've got a lot of great, you've got great clarity on what you want to do, and that's one of the biggest factors in succeeding. I think you've got to get that vision and have clarity on it before you can really step into your dream. And you do, Jason, and that's good because a lot of people don't have that. They really don't.
That's true.
And that's important. Now, I've got one more question, and then I'm going to have to go. Do you like? What do you think about social media? Or do you think it's helping the musicians? Or
Yeah,
I hear both, so I don't know.
yeah, I think it's very helpful. I think you know, well, for a long time I got off social media for about a year and a half, maybe even longer than that, and you know, I just didn't like to post and stuff. And even now, it's like I have to remind myself sometimes to post. But it's you got to use it. You got to if you want to reach people. I can't imagine any other way right now that my fans would know what I have going on or
Yeah.
see what's going on than social media, Facebook especially for me. You know, I think what it is a lot of artists don't, you know, the people that don't appreciate it. I don't think that they're fully tapped into um to understanding resources, and you
Yeah.
got to be able to use resources, and it's just one of those you got to use. Got to.
Yeah, you've got to, and Facebook is the big one. That's my biggest one. I'm on several, and I utilize them. And for some reason, Facebook is just the big daddy of them all, and it's true. It's given us opportunities that we never had before, exposures to people all over the world.
Yeah.
And so, if people that are not people that are just utilizing it as social media, and I know that's what it's called. But really, it's more than social media. Businesses are using it, and
Yeah.
it's, you know, otherwise it's just kind of a waste of time. Is if you're just playing on there, you know,
Yeah.
the people that aren't taking advantage of the fact that they can promote their product or whatever, you know, their businesses are really missing out. So.
Heck yeah, they are.
But I hate to end this today, Jason, but I'm going to have to wrap it up. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? Is there anything you want to add about next weekend that I didn't?
No. Actually, no, just plugging away. So actually, my birthday is on July 15th. I'll be 30, and it's gonna be fun. So we're gonna have a drive-in movie theater, and that's how that's how we're gonna premiere the music video that we just shot at the skating rink. So
for the Great Escape, for the
Up All Night.
Up All Night. Okay.
And so the reason why that video is so special is because it's about breast cancer survivor Tamarah Norman, and she's been skating since the age of 3, and she used skating. That was just one of her many tools to kind of like beat cancer. And so we got shots of her skating, and you know, and excuse me. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. July 15th. So I'll get you more details.
Yeah, get me more details, and I'll put it in the blog as well, and I'll post it on Facebook. So just make sure you don't forget to give me that.
I got you.
So So don't forget, viewers who are watching this, whether it's live or the recording, Jason Jet is going to be in Greensboro, June 24th. That's next Friday at Green Street Live. And you can get the tickets at Ticketfly. And I've got the link in the event page on Facebook, and you can find me, and I'll hopefully I'll remember to put it in the under the YouTube replay of this. And you can also learn more about Jason at his website at jasonjetmusic.com. And you can see the replay of this interview on my YouTube channel, but it's also will be in my blog at tamarahscloset.com in the celebrity closet section. And I have all my interviews there, so you can see all the people that I've interviewed. Jason's will be in there coming up. And so you can make sure that YouTube or via the blog when I put it in the blog, because this helps me continue to celebrate these talented people, and they deserve to be celebrated, you know, for having the courage. It takes courage to go after a dream. And
Tamarah, you're awesome.
Oh,
Thank you so much for having me, and you know, recognizing what I do musically and just me as a person. This platform is amazing, so I commend you.
oh, well, thank you so much, and I'll have you back. We'll just keep following you, and Jason, I really am gonna I'm gonna see if I can drum up a friend to go with me next Friday. If not, I'll just show up with my camera. My camera will be my date, and my camera is always my date. And anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. So make sure you share this replay so that I can continue to celebrate Jason. And thanks again, Jason, for being here. I really enjoyed it.
Likewise.
And I want to tell the viewers thank you for your continued support. And join me next Friday at the same time, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, June 24th, as I'll be interviewing. He's an incredibly talented and gifted equine artist. He paints horses. He's from Ireland. So it's my first interview with someone in Ireland, Tony O'Connor. He's on the social media sites. And thanks again to the viewers, and to your own success. Keep on rocking your own dreams, and we'll see you next week.